Silbervogel.
This is Austrian-born aerospace aeronautical engineer Eugene Sanger, who's best remembered today for his concept for what was called the Silbervogel, or Silverbird, which was a planned rocket plane that would take off out of Germany. And yes, it was going to skip off the atmosphere a couple of times, drop a payload over the United States, probably an atomic bomb over New York if they ever could have got it built, continue to bounce off the atmosphere, and probably, hopefully, land in Imperial Japan. Now, I'm not going to soft pedal this. Even though he was Austrian, he joined the Nazi Party in 1932, and in fairness, that's before they became what we would later know them for, but still, he was a card-carrying Nazi. Although he was an engineer, and I think back in those days, like von Braun and so many others, if you wanted to get money from the Germans for your projects, that's what you did. And his work had been noticed by the Luftfahrt Ministerium of these guys.
Reichsluftfahrtministerium.
Basically, their air research division. So he got his money, he came up with some plans. Ironically, his being hired was actually resisted by von Braun, who saw it as a duplication of efforts and probably competition for resources. But he did work for them. He came up with some plans. He had an assistant named Irene Brett, who was extremely important in his work. In fact, he later married her in 1951. So they were very much literally joined at the hip. And they worked very well together. They came up with a lot of great papers. Sanger didn't live that long. He passed away at like age 58. She lived much longer and continued to make contributions to aerospace. She was very well respected. I'd heard of Sanger because of being involved with kit models, my interest in all the old German Wunderwaffe, wonder weapons and everything, but I really didn't know that much about him until I did this kit, which is the Takom 1/72 scale Silbervogel, which was a gift from Ricky Wolf, who is essentially a professional model builder. And please check out Ricky's website and stuff. He submitted a lot of pictures for our group builds and our viewers builds. And he builds kits, but he also builds a lot of stuff that he's making out of resin and everything. Does some fantastic work. Now, at first, I thought Sanger was just sort of a, nut job, German pie in the sky engineer who had these fantastic ideas. Turns out he was actually very well respected, and a lot of what he did would later be important in projects like Dinosaur and the X-15 and a bunch of others. And I'm not going to get into a long history of him, just that he was actually, this was all very serious. This was not some fantasy. And yes, several sources did say that Stalin tried to have the NKVD kidnap him when his son Vasily and this Russian scientist whose name I can't pronounce couldn't convince him to come to Russia. Oh, yeah, let's convince a German to voluntarily go to post-war Russia. That's an easy sell. Bit of irony, that Russian scientist later defected to England and spent the rest of his life criticizing Stalin's regime, so maybe not the best salesman. They did discover after the war that he and Brett had made some mathematical errors, and had they actually built this thing and launched it, it would have probably melted on reentry. And if they put enough ablative material on it to survive reentry, it probably wouldn't have had any payload to be able to deliver anything. But still, well, a lot of the math, a lot of the concept was there. In fact, it was such a good concept that in the 80s, long after his passing, there was consideration in Europe for doing a piggyback type aircraft like this, which they named the Sanger after him. So, I appreciate just how much of an impact he had, and I didn't give it enough credit. The kit is by Takom. Now, the actual Silbervogel is pretty straightforward. The little tow vehicle, the truck and everything that comes with it, is far more complicated and harder to build. Unquestionably the hardest part of the build, but it just looks so cool. And of course, you get the trailer for a couple of atomic bomb options. And so, it's one of these what if things. different future, who knows what could have happened. This may have come to pass or something like it. So I really enjoyed building it. And I used the SMS lacquers that Mr. Orr sent me. First, I gave it the black base coat, and then I gave it the metallizer, and really liked the way that looked. The only real complaint I have with it is that you have these tiny little nubs on the wings, horizontal stabilizers, and fins to mount to the body. They really should put something more substantial in there. I actually wound up when I put them on there, had a little trouble getting them level. They didn't come out quite as good as the one, which is odd because everything else about the model fit like a glove except the landing gear. I had to drill out holes for my landing gears to fit. And for as big as this model is and as heavy as it is, especially when you put in the 30 kilograms of weight for it to sit on its nose, the landing gear is a little spindly, especially the nose gear. I made matters worse because when I was fitting the nose gear, I pushed just a little too hard and it snapped. So I had to glue it back together. Long story short, I wound up having to build up a fair amount of CA glue to firm the gear up enough. Now, I will probably just go rip that nose gear out. I've got plenty of spare landing gears in my stash that I'll probably just pick something more robust and put it in there. But I wanted to go ahead and use the one that came with it. Or I could pull the weights out of it and pull the gear, fold it up, hang it up from the ceiling, or put it on a stand. Actually, it'd be a little tricky to put on a stand because it does come with a Bombay, which can be open or closed. I made mine closed because I was making an airliner out of it instead of a bomber. And that is pretty much where you would have to mount the stand. So that could make things easier or harder depending on how you go about it. But the fit and everything was fine. I didn't have any trouble with flash or anything like that. It's a very modern model with great fit, beautifully engineered. The fuselage goes together very easily. And you have two cockpit options, the single pilot bubble canopy like a military plane, or the two pilot flush one, which I went with because I thought that would be more aerodynamically clean and more of an airliner type thing. I wanted to make this look like it was a daily used aircraft. So, put the aging and the wear and everything on it. And you could see where the constant reentries had burned off some paint on the nose and everything. They do put tiles on the bottom. So you have like ablative looking tiles on the bottom. Very space shuttle. One thing that I did was, of course, I figured, okay, it's a rocket engine burning in the back, so it's going to have all this discoloration. So I used some clear orange and clear blue and some several different paints, mixed them real thin, just airbrushed them on until I just kind of got what looked like you've seen the old fighter jets like Vietnam and everything that had the stainless steel rear ends that would get all discolored and blues and everything and sort of rust golds and from all the heating and cooling. And I thought I'd go with something like that. I also figured out at one point, I don't know how I did it. I guess I didn't secure the rear end, but it popped off and I was, uh-oh. But then I set it down. I was like, wait a minute. You could do something cool with this. You could make it like it's got a detachable, if you were going to make like an airliner instead of a bomber, you could make it like that instead of, since you're not going to need the bombs, you could have the truck towing away the rear end of the vehicle or something and make that when they service it on the ground, you'd have to put some tankage in there and a wall on the fuselage. Not a big deal, or a pressure vessel. There are plenty of things you could use to make that with. But the idea being that to speed things up when they land, they just detach the tail with the rocket engines, because these are rocket engines, not a jet, it's a rocket. And they roll out one that's been prepped, bolted on, and it's ready to fly again, while the other one goes back to shop for servicing and refueling and everything. Just a passing thought. Of course, actually, this had a pusher set of rockets and a very long ramp on it, a couple of kilometers long. So what you see here is the part that makes the flight goes up into space. But there's actually this series of engines, probably V2 engines back in the day, that would have been basically the first stage. It would have been a multi-stage rocket. But the kit itself, beautiful kit. Like I say, only problem is gears are a little spindly and had to bore out the holes, and those little stub wing and tail mounts. Those are my only complaints. A little surprised Takom did it that way because these are pretty big parts and they've been doing this a long time. They know what they're doing. But But those issues are easily overcome. And if the landing gear is not even an issue if you're going to make it wheels up. So it doesn't come with any people. I still think the little truck's the coolest part of it. And it makes a fairly sizable kit when you're done. So, but I really enjoyed it. Had a great time with this. And I like the way it looks. So definitely 2 thumbs up. And thank you very much, Ricky. You guys take care of yourself. We'll talk to you later. As always, model on.